Shri Manish Tiwari ji.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, for giving me the opportunity to speak on the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code, Second Amendment Bill 2020. This bill has a certain context which I think this House needs to keep in mind. And the context is that even before the COVID-19 pandemic hit the world and hit us in turn, the gross domestic product of our country, the GDP growth rate, had been in a free fall for 7 quarters. The fundamentals of the economy, namely savings, investment, consumption and employment, have been under a stress, if not a severe stress, for a while now, even preceding COVID-19. If I recall correctly from the top of my head, in the first 6 months of 2019-2020, which is H1, credit offtake was down by 93% from 7,35,000 crores to 93,000 crores. The government in 2019-2020, after the budget had been presented, tried to remedy the economic situation, but instead of giving a supply-side stimulus, they decided to, rather than giving a demand-side stimulus, they decided to give corporate India a relief of 1,45,000 crores in terms of corporate tax, which essentially was a supply-side fix, but unfortunately it failed to boost the economy. So therefore, if the current bill is also read in juxtaposition with the Companies Amendment Bill, which was in this House 2 days ago, the same mistake is being repeated again and again. The government feels that the panacea for all evils, the magic bullet to revive the economy, really lies in giving stimulus, giving incentive to the corporate sector, while they completely and absolutely ignore the fact that at this point in time, what the Indian economy requires is a liquidity injection, money directly in the hands of the people. And till that point in time, this paradigm shift does not occur in the thinking of the government. I'm afraid the kind of economic revival that we are looking for, unfortunately, may not take place. Coming to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Second Amendment Bill, I believe, Madam Chairperson, there's a fundamental misunderstanding about the intent of this legislation. When this particular legislation was put on the statute books, the idea was not that it would serve as another means of debt recovery, that it becomes an alternative means of debt recovery. In fact, the entire purpose of this exercise was to see as to how you could reconstruct companies, rehabilitate them, make them viable, so therefore employment continues to be sustained and they continue to generate value for the economy. Unfortunately, this has become another concurrent and a parallel paradigm to the DRT or the SIFARSI process. And may I point out, since Mr. Nishikant Dubey had alluded to this, the honorable member from Jharkhand, that SIFARSI was actually put on the statute books by the then UPA government. The fact is that it was put on the statute books by the then NDA BJP government in 2003. So I think factually we need to be correct. Madam Chairperson, I would like to just read Clause 2, which adds Section 10A to the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code. It says that notwithstanding anything contained in Sections 7, 9 and 10, no application for initiation of corporate insolvency resolution process of a corporate debtor shall be filed for any default arising on or after 25th March 2020 for a period of 6 months or such further period not exceeding 1 year from such date as may be notified in this behalf. As has been earlier pointed out by some other honorable members, that there there does not seem to be, or there isn't a direct linkage, and I'll conclude in just 2 minutes, Madam Chairperson, there isn't a direct linkage with COVID-19. And I think that is what is extremely germane, given the larger pre-COVID economic context that I pointed out too, that there is a need for the government to rectify this particular bill and make the linkage between this moratorium and COVID-19 stress absolutely direct and precise. My last submission, Madam Chairperson, is that a canard or a myth has been deliberately perpetrated, that the then UPA government was responsible for subverting the banking system of India. I would, with all responsibility, like to urge the government that if they do believe that this is true, and they have been in government for 6 years, please initiate appropriate legal proceedings under the law against whosoever in the UPA was responsible for subverting the banking system. Otherwise, stop spreading this canard repeatedly over and over again, because like Joseph Goebbels said, that some people believe that if you speak a lie 1,000 times, it will become the truth, but unfortunately it would not. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson.